Dr. Moore, thank you so much for taking
I want to
time
thank
to
you all too, and I want to correct Ike just a little bit there. He said they begged me. That's not the case. The case is I begged them, and Ike said, Dr. Moore, slow down. You're still trying to finish up. You need to give. So so thank you, Ike and Dr. Manning, for allowing me to join you all today.
Let me tell you, as is our custom, we've got just several questions, and we will end with a set of rapid fire questions that are just fun things that we do. But remember, Dr. Moore, if you want to add, take away, answer something different, the whole joy about this is that we connect and gather together every Monday at 1 o'clock, and we try not to make it too formal, and we try not to make it too stuffy, although that is my true preference in life, is a little formal and stuffy, but I'm trying to grow out of that with age. So like I said, I'm just going to go straight into our questions. I think, people know a lot about you from your time here in November. So we're just going to get into some of the fun, casual stuff that really, I think, will allow people to get a different side of you and you to get a different side of us. So first question, very simple. Describe your career in higher education, sir, in 10 words or less.
10 words or less? Oh,
yes,
my
sir.
goodness.
Yes.
You're going to ask the chancellor to speak in 10 words
10
or less?
Words
all right.
or less. Yes, sir.
Okay. Servant leadership, 10 words or less. I would say I lead by putting the needs of my team first.
Well, you did a nice job.
Okay, let me count the words. I lead. Yeah, there you go.
Spot on. This is going to be a walk in the park. You're going to love this. Thank you, sir. All right, this one's a little different. What personal values influence your leadership style? Because I think we all have this tendency to bring our own ideas, our own initiatives, and I'm always fascinated, as is Dr. Manning. This has been something we've discussed in lots of other things too. Well, what personal values influence or impact your leadership style?
I pattern myself on being a person of integrity. I think what I tell you all, and you, Ike, and others, what I tell you that I'm going to do, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to do it. And I think I bring, just moral principles. I care about people. I mean, those are the things that's just me. And I'm not trying to give you any sugar-coated answer. It's just that I believe in people. And this is my 30th year in higher education. And I believe in helping people. I believe in helping to pull things out of people that they don't really see that's in themselves. And I think I have that ability and that skill set to do that. And I enjoy doing it. I really do.
I love that. Sir, your career began really just as mine did, as an adjunct faculty, as Veronica did. Share with us what your first teaching experience taught you about leadership and that you still utilize today in your leadership roles.
So that's a very good question. I appreciate that question. And, leadership to me is about influence. It's about getting things done through other people. And I'll take you on a little journey here real quick. I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but I started my career, as you know, at not too far from here at East Arkansas Community College in Forest City, Arkansas, teaching mathematics. And I know some on this call here today might not enjoy mathematics like somebody, nerdy person like me, and love mathematics. The world evolves around math. And so I learned very early on, because I had a number of students in my class, and I taught classes from starting at elementary algebra all the way through Cal 1, Cal 2, Cal 3 differential equations. And, I learned early on that the subject itself was very difficult. So part of my role as a professor or an instructor was to create an environment that's conducive to learning. And the parallels to what I do in the leadership role, part of my role as a leader is to create an environment that's conducive for people to feel good about themselves in my presence, so to speak. And because that's how people really achieve being comfortable. And so part of my role and the thing I've learned is creating that environment. And I find myself as a leader creating an environment where people, feel comfortable saying and discussing things, whether it be the maintenance person or housekeeping. And in fact, this morning I ran into the housekeeping person here and talked a little bit. That's because that's my leadership style. I create that environment where people feel good about themselves and people want to do things. People want, I believe it's important to inspire people, to make people to want to learn more, want to educate themselves more, want to be more and become more. And it's all about the environment where people feel comfortable and believe in themselves that they can achieve. And I found myself doing that, not only early on in my career as a math instructor, where I had to because, a lot of people just didn't feel good about the math class, ultimately didn't feel good about themselves. So I said, wait a second, how do I change this? How do I flip this script? And I've taken that with me along the way as it relates to leadership and administrative roles.
I feel so strongly that it really buttresses all of us that have taught. Once you have taught a class or had a career in education that have taught, that really buttresses our outlook, I think, on lots and lots of things. It has mine.
I mean, to get off script here, but I remember back, because I started my career, as you know, in math and teaching, and I was in the classroom full time for about 16 years. And then I went over to the administrative side, and I remember a professor saying to Dr. Moore, you went to the dark side.
Dark side. I was going to say, did they tell you went to the dark side?
And he says, don't you miss teaching? And I said, when I first took on the administrative role, full-time administrator, because I was thinking of it as I'm not long in the classroom, but then I started realizing that I was in a bigger classroom, if that makes sense. So it's the same type of thing. So I really appreciate that question because I think it's a very important question that you just asked me.
Well, it's something that I think a lot of us have bantered a little bit. Share with us something, sir, that people might not know about you.
Oh boy. Oh, you sure you guys want to know this?
Yes,
Right,
yes.
so you guys know I grew up. You guys know I grew up in Southwest Arkansas, in the suburbs of Hope, Arkansas, a little country town, Old Washington, Arkansas. And as you all know, in the state of Arkansas, there's no professional sports team. And so being close on that Texas border, everybody that I knew were a Cowboys fan. So what you may not know about me, I hate the Cowboys. I hate the Cowboys, and I'm a Steelers fan. So I don't like the Cowboys. I get overjoyed when the Cowboys lose.
Well, let me tell you, we'll talk another time. I've got a friend whose son had a very, very short stint of time playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, that's my only ounce of football, one of my football knowledges. This is a biggie. It's kind of a deep. It's not big. It's just kind of deep. Share your greatest life lesson thus far.
Greatest life.
Your greatest life lesson thus far. And even if you say your top two, I won't even narrow you down to one.
No, that's good. This is a good question. I'm just thinking about it for a second there. The greatest life lesson I've learned, this is as I shared with you, this is my 30th year in higher education. Now, if those of you are thinking that I'm old, I'm not that old. I just started very, very young.
No, you're not. You're quite young.
But my greatest lesson has been that, and it took me a while to understand this, that success can be delayed, but not necessarily denied. And what I mean by that is early on, and I'm a very impatient person. I'm better at it because I want things to happen right then and there. But as I've gotten older, I've understand the importance of timing. Things happen when they're supposed to happen. And so again, and that's not, and so early on, I thought, oh, that's failure. No, not necessarily failure. Is that what I wanted to happen at a particular time did not happen. It just was delayed until it's supposed to happen. So that has been the greatest lesson for me over my 30 years in higher education, understanding and appreciating the importance of of being patient and understanding how things are truly connected in the world, and things are not just isolated, and things doesn't just happen by happenstance. There's a reason that things happen. So that's been the lesson I've learned.
That is a huge lesson. This kind of piggybacks on this other question, because I too am a young person. I'm a few years older than you, but I'm a young person at heart. I'm getting younger as I age. But I think about this: what piece of advice would you give your 25-year-old self?
Be patient. Be patient. It's going to be okay. I want to have. No, calm down. Be patient. Things are going to happen when they happen, and that's okay. Things doesn't have to happen just like that. And be patient. Be patient with yourself.
About that even with myself, in the thing that I think, I can remember just barely myself at 25. And I think about how it was such everything was an amazing thing. Every issue, it is patience and timing, and kind of letting the ebb and flow of life ebb and flow, and inserting. It's a great value to try to find.
It's like, raising, I have a 16-year-old son. It's like raising a 16-year-old into a 16-year-old son. Everything is emergency. Mm-hmm. Everything is not an emergency.
No.
Everything you don't have to do. I mean, be patient. That's huge. That is huge for me. I think I've grown within the last 5 years of being even more patient. And that's still a battle and a struggle that I have, a shortcoming that I'm continuously working on. The other day, someone, I can't remember who, because I have an email now at ASU, and someone sent something out about, it's excellent, about mental fitness and the mind. I mean, I'm into that. That is so critical of understanding how do we, just take a deep breath and relax. It's going to be okay. It's not emergency. So relax. And that was very helpful. Whomever sent that out, that was great for me. I needed, at that point in time, I needed that while I'm juggling, trying to make sure I'm in the know what's going on here, that I needed that at that time. And again, that goes back to what you talked about earlier, about, what are some of the things over the years I've understood. The greatest lesson I've learned is understanding that timing thing. Everything is not.
It's really big. Timing is really big.
Take your foot off the gas. It's going to be okay. We're going to work through this.
I have heard so many people in the last several months say that they have forced themselves to slow down and enjoy what they had at the time. Whatever that is. And, I think for those of us that go at rushed paces, for those of us that feel like, the clock is continually ticking and the list is continually growing and all, I think it's so important sometimes to do, as you said, sir, and breathe and think and absorb those moments, because, those are big, moments, individuals. As president of Pierpont, you made it a priority to teach in the classroom. What would your students say about your approach to teaching? I think you've touched on it some already, but I want you to visit with just a little.
Yeah, they would say, first of all, I think it's about everything that we do at our institution should be done with our students in mind.
I agree.
So student-centric, student-centered, because that's what we're about. That's why we're here. Now, that's not to say employees not important. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but everything that we do, decisions we make, should be done with students in mind. And what students would say is that he cares about our needs. And I remember a student saying this, and I was teaching a class, is that he makes things simple enough for all of us to understand.
That's huge.
It really is.
That is huge. That is.
And I had a student say to me, well, Dr. Moore, you should just write your own book, because it was the book that I'll give them reading assignments, and it says, Dr. Moore, I read, but I don't understand anything. And so they knew the next day in class they didn't have to take notes, because I prepared notes for them so I can have their undivided attention and really get it. And then students say, well, you should have just wrote your own book, because you make it simple. I understand this. I don't understand what's in that book. But that's part of the role of and that's, you asked me earlier about what have I learned in the teaching that helped me in leadership. In teaching, I've learned that part of my role is to create an environment that's conducive for learning. Well, part of my role as a leader, as an administrator, is to create an environment where people, feel comfortable with, maximizing their skill sets. And the other part on my end is knowing those skill sets, making sure that we have people on our team that's in the right position to maximize their skills for the good of the team to win championships. He says, oh, Dr. Moore, he's talking this basketball and sports stuff. What is he talking about? But no, it's a lot of similarities in sports, team sports, in what we're doing at the institution, because it's all about the team. That's my leadership philosophy.
Wonderful. A little bit of a different, we're going to kind of like change gears just
Sure.
a moment. What opportunities do you forecast in the future for ASU-Newport?
First off, I want to say one of the reasons I applied for the job, obviously, is in my home state of Arkansas, and I love the state of Arkansas. But when you start looking at this institution and what has been accomplished over the short history of the institution, it's a testament to all of you all and the work that you guys have done. So first, I want to salute all of you for just doing a fantastic job and developing this institution into one of the top institutions in Northeast Arkansas, if not the top community college in the state, two-year school in the state. And you'll hear me say that a lot, because it's about pride. It's about being, making sure you give honor to the people that have done a lot of good work, and don't be bashful about sharing that with, when I'm in Little Rock or throughout the state and throughout the country, sharing the goodness that this institution is bringing about. So first of all, you guys have done a fantastic job in terms of opportunities. The opportunities are limitless, because think about what's happening now as we're still in the era of COVID. Then there's going to be a post-COVID era.
Right.
Schools like ASUN are more important now than ever before. And so in some of the opportunities that's going to lend itself is micro-credentialing, because what's happening, a trend that's happening nationally now is that, and we know this, there are a number of people that have degrees, but they're out of work. And so when you have a number of people that have degrees that are out of work and looking for jobs, they're not looking to go back and get another 4-year degree, et cetera. They're looking for an institution like ASUN that can provide them with short-term certification to reset their skill sets to go back to work. That's where the tremendous upside that we have as a 2-year comprehensive institution. There is no surprise that, if you remember last year about this time when we started running into COVID and all of that, and then the government gave all of our higher education institutions monies as it relates to the CARES Act. Well, last year, the percentage of funds that were extended to 2-year institutions, the percentage of funds as it relates to 4-year was less. This year, think about what is happening. 2-year institutions are getting a larger piece as it relates to the percentage of funds. Why? Because the government realized and understands that 2-year institutions like this are going to play a significant role in helping the economy get back moving. And so it's tremendous upside as it relates to IT credentials. It's tremendous upside as it relates to apprenticeships. Companies are going to be reaching out to us, making sure that we can help them train their workforce. So it's the tons of things that in terms of opportunities for 2-year schools, especially, like ASUN, to really thrive, particularly in IT, healthcare. And then, of course, there are a number of programs that you guys are excelling in, or we, I should say, are excelling in
Yes,
right
sir.
now.
Yes, sir.
As it relate to healthcare opportunities, diesel tech. All of those types of programs are just critical, because those are not just programs to get people their foot in the door for employment. These are careers, high-paying careers for people, and what's going to happen is the technical skills are going to take off because there's going to be a tremendous amount of monies out there, opportunities in terms of grants and such for us to utilize. In fact, kudos to the folks here for going after dollars recently. You know, what a great way to close out the year on getting over $500,000 in grants. We got to continue that momentum. So I'm excited. When I saw that email, I jumped up and down but that just shows you the potential that's there. And again, kudos to all of you for the hard work, because in the fall, it was not easy balancing all of that with COVID, all the unknowns, all the uncertainties, yet and still this institution is moving forward. So I am so pleased and so happy to be coming aboard and to help not diminish what we're doing, but to help uplift the institution and take it to its next level of excellence. But that's only going to happen through the collaborative efforts of everyone, not just from what Dr. Moore is doing. No, it's for what ASUN, the entire faculty, staff, and students and the community are doing collectively to galvanize our shared vision to move this institution forward.
You are the very best kind of speaker, because you've answered a question or two extra and didn't even mean to. It's the best. It is the
well,
best.
I get a little excited. You
best.
know that from our conversations, I get a little excited sometimes.
Absolutely. That's why I slotted a little extra time. I said, we're not going to cut him off if he gets on a roll. What, sir, do you treasure the most about a career in higher education?
You know, I joke, but when you really think about what we do and the reason we all went into higher education, or most of us went into higher education, it's about those enriching experiences. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you all, but I've been fortunate to have worked at a variety of institutions, and the nice thing about that, you get to interact with different people, different cultures. I mean, that's great. That's how I get my energy. And people say, how do you stay so energized? Because I get my energy through interacting with people. I love talking with people, just as you do, Ike. You love.
I do. I love
talking yes, sir. With people. I really do, engaging people and providing opportunities for people to be successful, and also giving people or being in a position to help transform the lives of people. Man, that is priceless to be able to do that. One of the things that I'm very, very proud of in the great state of West Virginia is, because I know when I went to the state 5 years ago, there were so many people who didn't have hope. And what I mean by that, didn't have hope, didn't see a way for them to ever continue their higher education because they had to work. Well, and for some, a lot of, okay, if I stop working, well, how am I going to pay my bills? Well, I mean, how do you balance all of that? And then you have people who just can't, dirt poor, don't have, the financial barrier is huge. So we fought very hard to create a community college bill, Senate Bill 1, that can ease the financial burden. And that's where I get my joy, on creating opportunities to pull something out of people that they didn't know that was in them, and creating an opportunity for people to be successful, to help transform their lives. Because when you help people transform your life, in essence, you're transforming your entire community. So everybody benefit from it. So that thrills me. And recently I was talking to a group of high students via Zoom. They invited me in to speak with them. And one of the students said, Dr. Moore, you seem just bubbly. What? How do you do that? Being a president, how do you keep be happy? I said, the trick is finding something. I know this sounds cliche-ish, but you find something that you truly enjoy doing, and you just get in your zone, so to speak, and you just enjoy it. Just like, and you can see my ups and downs. I'm speaking with you all because I enjoy talking about these things. Just enjoy talking about it and enjoy doing some things that can help transform the lives of people. Because it's not about me anymore. It's about what can I do to help others. And so when I look at the vision of this institution, when I look at, part of the vision is to try and help rejuvenate their American dream. I mean, think about that. And oftentimes in life as adults, we stop dreaming. We do. We start thinking about all of the things that why something won't work. Then my 9-year-old at home, that's why again, the man above provide us in positions or things in life at the right time. It's my wife and I were married for, I'm telling you, more than you probably want to know. But I want you to know who I am.
Yes,
where I'm coming from. But my wife and I was married for almost 11 years prior to any kids. So we did our thing. And now, not that we didn't try to have kids, but it wasn't in the cards at that time. And boom, it happened. And it was the right time for that. It's just like, one of the things I cherish most about my daughter, who's 9 years old, and going to Disney World and all of these things, because it's magical. They dream. They continually dream. Anything is possible. But as adults, nope, we can't do that. We have a lot of can't do that's in our mindset. Oh, we can't do that. We can't do this. We can't. No, we got to allow ourselves to continue to dream. And it's unlimited on what we can accomplish if we have the right mindset.
Well, I think really I'm about to cry, so I've got to go on to the next question. That is such a good answer. Oh my gosh, it's such a good answer. What is your greatest, and you're answering this before I even ask it because it's so obvious. If you were going to narrate it, what is your greatest personal attribute? Just one, or two if you want to, but just one.
I would say it's how when let me back up so we didn't put this in perspective. Back in I'm gonna date myself here. Back in 1985, back in 1985, of course, I started college in Little Rock at Philander Smith College. And my whole purpose of going to college was to become an NBA. I think it's an article in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette back then, where I was going to become an NBA basketball player. That was my goal. That was my dream. That was my touchstone. That's why I went to college. That's what I thought I wanted to do. Go to the big city, make the big bucks. I mean, that was it. But along the way, I realized that was not in the cards, so to speak. So I was wanting something that was not in the cards. I had no idea that I could become a professional president of a college, a chancellor of a university. That was not in the cards. That's the beauty of this education thing. And so that's why I'm so passionate about helping people. Because, if you had asked me back then, there's no way excuse my language, there's no way in hell I would have said I would be a college president or a chancellor. Me? Really? But that's the beauty of what we're doing. And this is why I get so passionate, because through education, we can help pull something out of people that they don't even know at the time that's in their cards. So anything is possible, and that's the beauty of all of this.
And while we're pulling the best out of them, we're digging the best in ourselves too.
Yes.
While we're pulling the very best out of others, we are fostering that kind of initiative in ourselves too.
And that's what I didn't learn. I didn't know about myself then. And that's what I know about myself now, is that I do have that passion. I have that integrity. I have that ability to connect with people. And I think you had asked something about, what did I bring from teaching and all? I mean, all of those. So when I look back over my life, I start connecting those dots.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And see how that I was preparing really to be a chancellor or a president. Then I didn't know it, but I was preparing myself to do that. And that's when I'm talking with students, those are the types of things that I'm talking to them about, is to pay attention, be alert as you go through your journey. Every experience that you have going to benefit you somewhere.
Oh, that is so true. That is so true.
It's connected. Don't look at life as these independent little, no, they're all connected. The challenge is, how do you connect them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
So
true. That is so true. That is so true. Tell me, sir, who has been the greatest influence in your life?
I would say my family. I've been fortunate to be married to the same wife for, oh gosh, 26 years this year. Again, I'm not that old. I just got married very young. uh, Two wonderful kids. I have a 16-year-old son who thinks he's better than me in basketball now, but that's not true.
Well,
And I have a 9-year-old
your
daughter.
job to teach him humility a little bit along
Yes.
the way. That's what we're gifted for.
And those and my family is what I live for, and that's my joy. I can have the toughest day whatsoever. I come home, my daughter's daddy is always the same. It just brings me back, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, well, now, my last question is it's segmented because, like I said, I had several more, but you have answered them, which is just the mark of a really great discussion when you can blend. But now this is kind of one of my signature questions, and I ask odd, weird questions. I don't do them in really interviews anymore because, but I will in this. If you were comparing your life to a song, sir, what would it be and why? The things you know about yourself that we're going to learn about you. If you were comparing your life to a song, what would it be?
Do you all remember that song by, I think, what's the guy's name? Pharrell Williams, where he talks about, I'm happy.
Oh, yes.
That's
a great song.
I love it. Because you will see me just walking around with a smile on my face. It's like, why the heck is he smiling? Why is he happy about? We're done. I'm happy.
It's the best. that is what we're all searching for. That's what we're all wishing to impart, and that's what we're hoping to give our students, our mentors, ourselves the capacity to be able to be like that. That's exactly. You can be no better person than a happy person,
Right.
because that transcends to every other entity that you work with.
Yeah.
Dr. Moore, we're about to enter in what we call our speed questioning phase, which is the best. I mean, it's really simple.
So let me ask then. You know me. I always ask questions.
Of course.
So speed. So I got to answer the question within what, a certain amount of time, or
no, we're not. You are under no limitations.
I thought it was Jeopardy or something. I don't know.
We just call it speed round because Dr. Manning will ask the first question, I'll ask the second, she'll ask the third, and they're very simple, very basic, good. And they're just kind of get to know you kind of questions.
Okay, all right. I think I can handle it.
It will be no problem whatsoever. Dr. Manning, you begin.
Hello, Dr. Moore. Share with us the names of your wife and children. Let us get to know their names.
My wife's name is Sequoia. My daughter's name is Jayna, Jayna, and my son's name is Jonathan. John, Johnathan. Yeah, with the John, nothing.
We look forward to meeting them.
Oh, we do. Sir, what's your favorite food?
Steak. Medium well.
I know. I've got that. Dr. Manning?
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Oh gosh. Oh man. Oh, you need my son to tell you this.
If you say lateness, I'm in real trouble. Now I'm going to have to really work. If you say I'm going to work on it.
I can't. It just a pet peeve of mine is when things that need to be done, and people don't do it because they say things like, well, that's not in my job description. That's just it's like my son. So, and when I met my son, so I've created like a list of chores for my son to do. And he will say things like, it could be something like, for instance, let's say I was doing a load of clothes in the laundry, and let's say I forget to put them in the dryer. And he's supposed to do his laundry, but he wouldn't take my clothes out of the laundry and put it in the dryer. That burns me up because that was not on your list. I mean, that sort of stuff. I can't, that burns me. It burns me. I'm sorry, but it's the truth.
That I get that. What is one thing, sir, you will not eat?
Beets.
Beets.
I can't stand beets.
Okay.
I don't care whether or not they're in a can or fresh. I just will not eat beets.
Okay.
Will not do
Note
it.
to self, will not be having beets. That's all right.
What is a hidden talent that you have?
A hidden talent. That one's hard. I don't have any. I'm talentless. I
No, I
can't
don't
play
see
any
it.
musical instruments. I can play basketball, but I can't play any. So I don't have any hidden talents. I can't sing. Oh Lord, you wouldn't want to hear me sing. So, zero.
I know the answer to this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Morning person or evening person?
I'm a morning person.
I know. I knew that before I asked it.
Do you have a celebrity look-alike? Do people tell you that you look similar to a celebrity?
No, no one has ever told me that. No.
Who
Oh,
would you choose?
yes, I take that back. Someone said, this was years ago, and maybe it's changed. It said Johnny Gill,
Uh-huh.
the singer. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Favorite color?
Blue.
Very good, very good answer.
You now let me caution you all.
Uh-huh.
Blue. I have about 12 blue shirts. I don't want you to think that he had a blue shirt yesterday. He had a blue shirt. I have
love blue
12
shirts. I have
blue
lots of blue
shirts.
shirts too. I get it.
You didn't switch your laundry to the dryer. We know that you wore it yesterday.
That is so great. That is so great.
Who's your favorite NBA team?
The Lakers.
Favorite movie? Favorite
Glory,
all-time movie?
Glory Road is the movie about Don Haskins. By the way, Don Haskins recruited me years and years ago before he, of course, passed. And it was UTEP that won the 1966 National Basketball Championship. This is when they had an all-black starting five versus University of Kentucky. I mean, all of that. That's my favorite movie.
Glory Road. We'll do it. What was your high school mascot?
Tigers.
Oh,
What did you listen to on your drive to campus this morning?
Actually, every single morning, I listen to a radio station out of Dallas. I've done that for the past, 10 years. And not so much for the music, but for they have this section on there called Hot Topics, and it talks about what's happening. And in fact, before my wife knew I was listening to it, she says, how do you seem to know all of these things about celebrities and all this stuff that's happening? I read. I'm just up on stuff like, no, I listen to that radio station every single morning.
what a good idea. Favorite season of the year?
Fall. And here's why. Because you guys know, if you don't know, you will know soon that I'm big into sports, and fall is the start of another school year, but it's also the start of football, and then it blends into basketball, hockey, baseball. I mean, all of those key sports. So I love it.
Wonderful.
So you can imagine the withdrawal I had this past spring.
I'm sure. Sure.
There was no NCAA basketball tournament and no sports.
Oh. Your ideal, this is the last question, your ideal vacation. Money is no object. You can go anywhere you want to go.
Disney World. And here's why. I think I shared this a little bit earlier. And I love going with my daughter. I remember the first year that we went, because my son it was kind of interesting. My son, this is when we lived in Florida. So he was born in Florida. And so we had an annual pass. We would always go to Disney World and all. And then we moved, of course, back to Texas and then ultimately to West Virginia and all. And then every year, we allow the kids to decide upon where they want to go, on vacation. And so the year came when my daughter's term. And of course, she had never gone at this time. She was about 4 and never gone to Disney World. And of course, she chose Disney World. And of course, Jonathan was upset. We want to go to Disneyland, all that stuff. Well, here's why, is to see it, to go to Disney World and see it through the eyes of a child.
Mm-hmm.
It's that magic. I mean, think about Disney. It's magical. I mean, of course, we know it's I shouldn't say fake, but it's like a
It's pretty
dream.
cool. It's cool.
It's dreaming, and just to see it from her eyes. And that's what I was talking about earlier, where as adults, we have a tendency to think more, and we should, because there are certain things you cannot do, but we put a lot of our emphasis on the things that we cannot do than opposed to dreaming about the things that we can potentially do. And so I like going to Disney World just to see, it through our eyes, and as an adult, just to continue, myself in dreaming about life, dreaming about things, that the possibilities. Because a lot of times we put so many limits on ourselves. And I think, one of the other things I have, you had asked earlier, I think one of the other questions, is I bring a growth mindset. A lot of times people are in the fit, and as adults, not all of us, but some of us get close into that fixed mindset than opposed to that growth mindset.
Yes.
So, and all of that's important, because I see the glass as half full. That's just how I think. That's how I'm wired, and that's why I'm happy. Okay, so that factors into the happiness.
Sir, we absolutely thank you so much for taking this time to visit with us. This has been wonderful. This is exactly what we wanted, a little time together to visit. You've been a kind person and a good sport to put up with all these questions and all these things, but we are so appreciative.
Yeah, I am too. I just want to thank you two, Veronica and I, for putting this on. And I know, Veronica, I know who's doing all the work. I had to throw that in to make Ike feel good. But I want to thank you all for putting this on. This is very, very good. And I want to thank all of you all that are on the call and all the good work that you all are doing. And I know we are now all dealing with tough times. We've dealt with toughness in the fall, dealt with it, uncertainty, COVID, and we're still dealing with a lot of those tough times now. But I want to tell you that we will get through COVID. We will survive. And then the beauty of a new year is because it brings with it hope. And there's a very hopeful year this year. We have a vaccine now, so hopefully we can get people vaccinated, and we can get back to some forms of normalcy and have some fun. Have some fun. We all got to get back into having fun, enjoying what we do. Because yes, we're dealing with so much uncertainty right now, and we all are, both professionally and personally. But let's continue to go back on one of the questions you had asked. I think over the course of my life, I've gotten to know myself better, and what I mean by that, and this is my message to folks that's on the call, is to take time out, meditate, do whatever you need to do to learn yourself. Because I believe when we are taking care of ourselves, mentally, physically, we can do our job much better, because it's very difficult to concentrate on the job and perform at the highest level when we have all of these other things that we're doing, because we're neglecting ourselves. So first, take care of yourself, because you take care of yourself, and you know self better than any one of us. Take care of yourself, and then the other things will fall into place. So I thank all of you for being on the call. I'm excited about being part of this great institution, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun here at this institution. So thank all of you.
I love for Dr. Manning to have the last word. So I'm going to continue that tradition this afternoon.
Well, thank you. And here is my parting thought. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I think we're all just on this journey together, gathering up as much experience and confidence as we can until the new opportunities come. So Dr. Moore, we are so thankful to have you with us today, and we look forward to all of the days to come and having fun and getting to know more about you. So until then, Stay safe and stay
Stay
connected.
connected.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.